Hello, everyone. Welcome to FNS Sports, where we talk about our lovely Reggae Boyz and our beloved New York Knicks. Today, we'll start with talking about the Reggae Boyz after their performance against Jordan today on Monday, July 19th, 2023. We will discuss the game in detail to as much as possible with a few player reviews or player reactions. And we'll also talk about how we expect them to perform starting on Sunday at the Gold Cup. My name is Dwayne, and to my right or left is my son, Clovis. He is a sports expert, much more than myself, and we look forward to chopping it up with all of you out there. All right, Clovis, who should we start with first on the Reggae Boyz team today?
I think the first man that we can start talking about is Blake, the Jamaican goalkeeper. Had pretty much an amazing game if it wasn't for the defense, which let in every single ball.
Captain Blake, we should call him Captain Blake. Captain Blake is definitely, as you say, our best player, hands down. He shows up all the time, and he's shown up again in these friendlies. Not just as a player, but probably as a mentor to the younger players and the older players on the team, inspiration to the older players on the team. So let's start with that. You're saying that the defense led in a lot of the shots that Blake didn't have the chance to stop. What do you think about that?
Well, there's a difference. It's not a very big game. It's a friendly, so obviously coach was testing a lot of different lineups and players to play. But I think it will be very hard if we keep playing like this against the USA on Sunday. And Blake will have a lot to do if that really happens. Blake put in an amazing performance today. Could have been 5-1, 6-1, maybe even if it wasn't for him. Some amazing saves today. And I hope that we can have a better defense against the US.
I agree. Well said. Were there any mistakes on Blake's part today, or anything you think that Blake could have also improved on?
Not extremely, but he was very stressed today. He wasn't really calm. He didn't pass the ball away calmly. He just liked to shoot it away. But as I said, he couldn't really do much today. He put in an amazing performance, and I think the coach has to have a little more talk with the defense.
And also, not that many long balls from Blake today that we saw a lot in the World Cup qualifiers. I'm not sure if you remember, but there were a lot of long balls. The few long balls we saw today, you reacted to it. You're like, "Whoa, that's a long ball." What do you think about that? I mean, but that was still accurate.
Yeah, he put up the ball today, but not really enough. We had a slow day today. Was not the best of day for the attack either. He put up the long balls when they came to the attack. They did very bad with it. But as I said, it's not really Blake's fault today because he had an amazing game.
Agreed. Let's move on to the defense, or should we say the defense with holes. What do you think about the defense? I could start a little bit. I think obviously starting Mariappa, we can't expect too much. He's at the end of his career. Center back, yes, but also plays on the wings. And maybe he's more suited to be on the wings these days, as you know, he's a bit height challenged and speed challenged. I would say his know-how and positioning is probably why he's on the pitch in terms of center back. But he's definitely a little bit past his prime in order to take us through this Gold Cup. So that was a little bit suspicious for me to have him be on the field. What do you think about Mariappa?
I mean, he's a quality player for Jamaica, but he has a lot of things that he still needs to work on, even if he has his experience. But I think needs to improve on a lot of things. As we said, there was not a good defensive day for the whole back line. But I think we can still put him in the team. I think he can still play, but I really think he needs to improve on his defense.
Defensive awareness, not the best is exactly for, I think, the quality that we're expecting from Mariappa. We had a new person in the backfield. Since this is a new video for us, I need to maybe look up the name, just 1 second. Defender, his name was, so I don't get it wrong. Deshaun Bernard, number 20, Deshaun Bernard. He started center back next to Mariappa. I think he put in a good showing. Obviously, nothing outstanding because I don't think we can comment too much on him. But I think that's also a good thing that he didn't send any alarms our way. What do you think about that?
I mean, he hasn't been playing for us at all, pretty much. I mean, it's his first game, and we didn't really expect him to do anything crazy, but he did what he had to do. Wasn't a horrible game. He put in a decent shift, and I don't think he's a man to blame for this loss.
Well said, well said. I would give Deshaun definitely not quite up or in the sevens, but what do you say, at least a 6.5 match rating in terms of his showing today. On his right side, we had Javane Brown, I believe. We've seen him before, MLS player, Vancouver Whitecaps. What do you think about his showing today?
He was not the best. He had a very hard game today. He got a lot of outrun, but he wasn't very stable today. He was one of the ways that they got through easily, and it wasn't really the best game for him. He was not doing well the whole game. So I think coach should have taken him out earlier, but I mean, it's a whole team thing, and I think we have to improve the whole thing and not only put it on him.
I agree. It's hard to put it on one player. We definitely tried not to do that. But I think Javane Brown, as we've seen, is limited in his abilities to really help us out. In terms of weak points, I would say that he let some people go by there on that right side that maybe shouldn't have. I felt the right side wasn't as strong as it should be with him out there. But I agree that it's definitely not just him, and we can utilize his strengths a little bit better if we had a better team concept. Let's move directly to the other side. The better player, Amari Bell. He's been our strong suit in the last few matches that I can remember watching him. I always enjoy watching him play, but I kind of feel that he struggled today a little bit. What do you think about Amari Bell today?
Wasn't a horrible game when you look at the other side of the defense, but it's definitely not a good one. He got sub off pretty early, and I think he could have put in a lot more today of his quality because he's a very good player and he's one of our best defenders. So I was hoping a little more from him today against Jordan, but hopefully he will play better against the US and hopefully he will find his confidence.
He plays well when he's allowed to go up the pitch. What do you think about that statement?
I mean, he is a fast player. He can do a lot with the ball. He can pass the ball away. He can dribble with the ball. He can move low with the ball. But we also have to understand that he can't really do anything and everything. So I think he did what he had to do today, but I was hoping for a little bit more.
I agree. I agree. Let's move to the midfield. Or should we just not move to the midfield because the midfield was a little bit tough to watch today? Who do you want to start with in the midfield? We can start with the big guys. First of all, there was a big guy, I think number 22 he's wearing, by the name of John Russell. New CDM, Jonathan Russell, new CDM. Not sure which game this is, but it's definitely not even game 5 yet for him. Maybe game 4 or even game 3 for him in the Jamaica jersey. What did you think about John Russell today? If you remember any feedback from John Russell, I must say that he was in the midfield together with Kevon Lambert, and Lambert was number 3, and he was the one that we had some trouble with. But do you remember what John Russell was doing?
Yes, he was not great, but as you said, he is a new player to the team. He needs to find confidence. He's a very good player, but he still is lacking a lot of things. And I think was the whole midfield today, not only him, he was a part of that, of course. But I think we shouldn't blame him only. He was one of the worst, but he wasn't the worst, and I don't think he was really to blame for its loss. He had an okay game for being so weak.
Let's get to Kevon Lambert. My opinion is Kevon Lambert is lacking the skills to play at the level that we want this team to play at. I think that he's a big body. I can understand why the coach has thrown him out there with the Jonathan Russell, two big guys, to kind of intimidate the other team a little bit. Maybe he did it on purpose, actually, to really intimidate the obviously stronger, more muscle-bound Jordan team. But I don't think Kevon Lambert did anything spectacular. I think he was also maybe in the wrong places at the wrong time kind of player. But what did you think about Kevon Lambert?
Not a great game for him. I mean, he struggled the whole game, didn't really do anything crazy. As you said, he really, really struggled. And I think we need more showing from him. I don't really think we should be playing him against the US team. It's a strong team, the US, and we really want to get a point, and because that would be big. And we really want to do good in the Gold Cup, so we really hope for a good showing from the team.
I agree. And with Kevon Lambert, I think it's too risky to say, hey, Kevon, go out and get us this win. That's what I would say to that. There was a shining star in the midfield. Started out as a cam, ended the game as CM, some kind of maybe even CDM at times. Our guy, Daniel Johnson. What's your take on Daniel Johnson today?
I think he was the best midfielder today, but still didn't show how good he really can be. A decent game from him. Was maybe the best midfielder today. Was one of our best players, because it was no one really showed up today, but he was one of the better ones. And I think he did enough, but not what he could have done. He had a lot more in it.
I agree. I think he got pushed off the ball a little too easy today at times. I think that maybe he also didn't quite trust the teammates enough at times. I do remember towards the end of the game, of course, he was pushing the ball up quite a lot, but Whisper was calling for the ball. Whisper Richards was calling for the ball, and he didn't give it to him at that time. Even though the pass was actually there to give, it could have even been a give and go or a give back kind of situation to further confuse the defense. So I agree. I think Johnson's skill was there, or he showed it, but it didn't really affect the game as we wanted to. And again, putting him back, I think, in the defensive role, it's just not a thing. I don't didn't really work out. I don't like that at all. Any other takes on Daniel Johnson and maybe how you'd like to see him play against the US? I think obviously he'll be a starter for the team. What do you think about that?
I mean, he's a very important player for our side, and I really hope that he can play better against the USA. Today we didn't really see enough of him. I think with a better team he might play better, but of course it's only a week, so we will see how much he can improve. And until then, we will just pray.
We'll pray. That's exactly. We'll definitely pray. Before we come out in the midfield, we can touch on the wings just after this, but we did recall that a lot of balls were popping up on the midfielders. What do you attribute that to? Like, they get the ball and the ball is somehow up here instead of being at their feet. It's popping up. What do you think about?
Well, it was a very stressful game for the whole team. Jordan did a very good job of pressuring, but pressing. So I think we couldn't really do much. I think like the whole team was struggling today. We didn't really see the Jamaica we like to see, and hopefully we just have a better game against the US, and hope we do our best. And we really can't play like this if we want to even have a chance. So hopefully the coach does some very good talking with the team, and it's definitely not an A team, barely a B team. But hopefully coach has something to say to the players, and hope that we can get a point against the US.
I agree. I mean, some changes definitely need to be made. We can touch on that at the end of this in terms of what we expect. but I think a lot of those passes that are popping up on the defenders are somehow just coming off target. But maybe, like you said, it's the stress from the other team, but stress from the other team shouldn't cause the ball to not stay on the ground. I think you lose a lot of vital seconds, milliseconds, even if you want, when the ball is up and not moving in the right direction. Uh, let's move over to the wings, or kind of lack thereof. I would say Paris. You start with him. What was your take on Kahim Paris today?
Didn't really do a lot today. He was a man that didn't really have a lot of the ball, but he did decent. I mean, we weren't really expecting anything crazy from him, and it is a friendly. He didn't really do much, but he had a decent game. Didn't play horrible, but didn't definitely not play great. And hopefully, he can have a better showing and get more minutes and just play better.
I agree. It's hard to give a yes or a no or like a hooray or hurrah on Paris. I must say though that as a winger, he did not push the ball enough for my liking. He didn't put a lot of balls into the box for my liking and or cut across for my liking. I think he kind of did the bare minimum. As it is right now, he's not a starter for
Definitely
me.
not.
Not a starter for me on the game, even any game in the Gold Cup, to be honest. Okay, now we got to go to my biggest pain point this game, or second biggest, third, first, I don't know, first or second biggest pain point in the game. Phillips.
Horrible. Absolutely shouldn't be seen in a Jamaican kit and anymore. I think he has a lot of things to work on for us to see him again. Definitely should not be in the squad for the Gold Cup. Definitely shouldn't be do anything more for us. I mean, he can improve. He might come back then. And coach gave him a chance, and I think he should say thank you for this opportunity. Go back, learn more, become a better player, and he might come back and do something better. But now I think we have to put him, we have to just put him aside and keep talking about our Jamaican football and not what was on today.
I agree. I think he does have a lot of game to work on. He missed a lot of opportunities in terms of his impact on the game. The ball came to him, and he did the basic movements and or not at all. So it's not his fault necessarily. It's tough to react when you're in such a stressful environment and not necessarily trained for it. Like you said, Jordan did put a lot of pressure on the midfielders and attackers today, and he was a casualty of that. Maybe he thought he would have had more space out there with his speed. He is, like you said, a speedy player when we were watching the match, but he's definitely not able to capitalize on that speed with his current skill set. Would you agree?
I very much agree. I think he has actually very much to work on, and I think he has to improve. I mean, coach just I think put him in to see how good he was, if he was good enough for the team. Now I think we can say he really isn't right now, but of course he has years to improve, and we might see him in like 2 years.
Well, he's also a Jamaican-based player, so he has a lot of improvement to go. I would say, head down to him, and uh, not to think just because he's the top of the league in terms of being called up to the Reggae Boyz out of the Jamaican league that he's a great player. I think that he should be humble, go back home, take this opportunity, like you said, to work on his game, and hopefully even get a transfer out of Jamaica at some point if that's possible. Uh, let's move on to before the subs. We had Corey Burke out there, very veteran player, very veteran player. Played like a veteran though, kind of played a little too cautious. What do you think about that?
Didn't have the best of games. I mean, as you said, he's a guy who was past his prime, and I think we didn't really expect that much from him. But he did decent, but not really good enough. He was a guy who didn't really show off a lot. He was not very didn't have a lot to do in this game. I mean, the midfield were struggling to get up the balls. We didn't have a lot of action. But for this day, I think he still needs to think about what he needs to improve, even if he is a veteran.
Yeah, it's hard to say he got put in the right positions today, of course. He can play on the wings. We've seen that in the World Cup, maybe some other matches. But he's definitely not a starter as well, I think, at this point. But I must say that I am comfortable that Corey Burke is going to score a goal kind of usually when he plays. Today he scored the penalty, the one goal that we got in. It was Corey Burke. So we have to give him some credit for that. He put himself in the right spot to get that. Or it wasn't actually him, but he shot the penalty and he made the penalty. Kept it on the ground the entire way. I thought it was a decent penalty. You thought it was close. It was close, but I think it was a decent penalty. His substitute. Let's move to his substitute. And my pain of a player on the Reggae Boyz, Shamar Nicholson.
Not a great game from him. I mean, he was a little too much of a show off. He did a little too much in a bad way. And I think he really should be on the edge of starting. I don't really think he should be starting. He should be on the bench. But I mean, coach has to talk with him for the Gold Cup. He's a very important player for us, but he also can do not the greatest. Today was not a good day for him. I think he can be way better, and he is usually better, but I think he has a lot to improve as the cup.
He can be better. We've seen him play better, but we've also seen him play the same. I think at times Shamar Nicholson thinks that Shamar Nicholson is greater than Shamar Nicholson actually is. And he's passionate. He missed that goal. He did the pullback, right, on the left side. He did the pullback, and then he put it 2 feet out of the goal. Should have maybe had some more composure on that ball. Then he did another one on the right side where the ball was bouncing, put that not on target at all as well. And then there was another one on the right side on the ground before this last one that we just talked about. And you said, why did he pass that ball? Or you said something like that. Why did he give up the ball? Doesn't he have a left foot? Like, couldn't he have put a shot on target? And I think these are the things that these are opportunities. In the Gold Cup, these are opportunities, and these are not opportunities that you want your star forward to miss, right? I would say these are opportunities that when your star forward gets them, you're like, oh, easy money, right? Or like, thank you. Like that's probably either going to go in or it's going to result in a corner, right? Goalkeeper's going to save it, or it's going to go in the back of the net, right? And or it's going to get a deflection, and hopefully Bobby Reid does what Bobby Reid does, or somebody does something and then puts it right back in there. And then we also commented on the number he's wearing, which again lives up to such a hype that I think that, he needs to also say, hey, I'm wearing this number. I have to perform better, especially even if it's on friendlies. I come out, my team is behind or my team is down. They're looking at me. I've been on the team for a long time. They're looking at me to do something, What do you think about some of what I just said?
I mean, 11 is a very big number of football, and in Jamaica, I think it's an important number for the team. And to wear number 11, you have to be extremely good, extremely skilled player. Same with 10. But I think he really shouldn't be playing in 11 if he doesn't show that he has the class. It's a very important number for the sport, so hopefully he improves, or else he really doesn't deserve that number 11 shirt.
Agreed. Let's end on. Oh, we can't forget about a couple of guys. Actually, we missed one guy in the defense, Richard King, number 6. That was not a good start to his coming on the field. What do you think about Richard King?
Not a good game. One of the biggest flops in the defense today. Gave Jordan a lot of chances today, and also gave Blake a very hard time. Without Blake, it could have been 5-1, 6-1. So like really helped King today. But King didn't really have the best of performances. But I think he can improve. But I don't really see him getting good minutes in the cup or even getting minutes at all.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're gonna have to hope that Damian Lowe gets healthy. I know he's dealing with some kind of leg injury at the moment, which is why he's not with the team. Maybe with Lowe and Bernard, that's enough, or Lowe, Bernard, and Pinnock, right? Let's not even forget about Pinnock. Maybe that's enough. Am I forgetting about anyone else at the moment? Yeah, actually, we had another bright star that came on. My guy, Limbakisa. Yeah, So, what do you think about Limbakisa?
I first a little bit underrated him, to say the least. But I quickly showed he was possibly our best player today. Extremely skilled guy. They scored goals under 21s. He's a very good player. We saw that today, and hopefully he gets good minutes in the cup. He looks like a good player. He's a young guy, and he could be a big future for Jamaica.
Yeah, let's hope he stays with the team, stays on the wings in the defense for us. I think he can play either side, but I'm not 100% sure on that. He did come on for Amari Bell today, so he did stay on the left side, and then Jermaine Brown didn't come off the field, which I thought was a little surprising as well. Let's go to our final player, perhaps, to review today. There was another player that came on, but I think for me, our final player that I want to review is Dejon Whisper Richards, number 14. What did you think about Richards' play today?
Not the greatest games. He had also a very hard time today. Jordan had a pretty good defense. We also missed a lot of chances. He really didn't have any extremely bad moments, but he wasn't really that great today. And I think it's not only him. I think it's a whole team. And hopefully the whole team improves, and hopefully he improves.
I think you're not giving him enough credit a little bit. The control on the left wing when he was on the left wing was pretty solid. He put a couple shots on goal that were very, very brave. Not like they had a whole lot of chances of going in, but it at least made us, I think, go, great, some shots on goal finally. I think he also did a little bit of good footwork with the ball. That play that he cut across from the left, cutting across into the mid, had an open box, but then decided to run out of steam or do something with the footwork that didn't quite get him through those last players. But I think he was quite exciting to have that kind of offensive mindset and control over the ball on the left side, and also a little bit in the middle at times. To be honest with you, I thought he was one of if he had started the entire game, we might have won this game. Like he was a catalyst, I think. And in the offense, you need catalysts. Would you agree, or do you think that I'm also maybe overinflating this?
I think, he didn't have a bad game. I think I think what you said, I think you're giving him a little too much credit. But I mean, he was maybe one of our best subs, or maybe even the best sub. But it's not his fault. He didn't. I mean, he had a good game for him. It was a team that let him down, so he couldn't really do much today. He did above more than enough, but I think he had a good game. The team didn't really have a good game, which didn't give him the best game.
All right. So that was our review. Really good stuff. Again, let's just go through some of the people that I think should be hopefully coming to the team. I would definitely like to see Michael Antonio, Leon Bailey, Kamar Roof, you mentioned. Where is Kamar Roof? You keep asking. Where is he? That's a good question. Jamal Lowe, we like him. Let's see some improvement from Richards. We want to see him come back. Damari Gray, still a big question mark on the whole passport thing and whatever. Those are attackers that could definitely help this offense, and we need offense badly. Of course, Bobby Reed wasn't here today. And who else from the midfield that we can really rely on? Ravel, where is Ravel these days? Who knows where Ravel is? And then I think we talked about earlier today as well that Omari Hutchinson is kind of waiting it out to make his cap, official cap, I should say, for Jamaica. So there's that. And then on the defense, we were missing pretty much Pinnock, our best guy. There's another guy named Wes Harding. I'm not sure where he is these days, but he's also supposed to be a great player. He played 1 or 2 games for us in the World Cup. That's it for us today. Thank you again for joining us on FNS Sports Talk. We just reviewed the Jamaica versus Jordan friendly. It didn't go our way, so now we have 2 X's, 2 red X's when you look up the last 2 matches, and no wins in the last 365 days. Great team. All right. Anyway, we're going to do better, I think, against the Gold Cup or in the Gold Cup if we get these better players on board, for sure. Any last takes, Uto Clovis, on this team and Gold Cup expectations?
I think Bailey has to show up for Jamaica this World Cup. I think he has to play as well for country as he does for club. I think Antonio also has to step up and be the man. I mean, we're not so much worse than the USA when we look at the squads. Of course, they have a better team overall, but our star players are very, very, very good. And hopefully Gray gets his passport fixed, and hopefully Bailey steps up because he's our best player. Maybe not for the national team, but as a player, he probably is. And Blake should be having a great game as he always has. And Bobby is hopefully going to be in Bobby and do his best.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. And we'll see you again maybe later this week. Take care.